Hey everybody, how's it going? Today's video, I'm going to clean up and process those dead spruce trees that we took down with the 044. But today I grabbed my 572. But that's not what I want to show you guys today. Today's video, I want to talk about long bars. I get comments a lot about why are you using such a long bar and such small wood. So today's video, I'm going to show you guys the technique that I've been taught and that I've learned along the way. There is a technique to using long bars, and I catch myself breaking the technique and I pay for it at the end of the day. With proper technique, a long bar is not heavier, and in fact, I think it's a lot safer. More on that in a second.
She cuts, eh?
And another thing, before we get into long bars, I think I'm going to take this one down too. You guys can see the top is dead. And somebody said in the comments, you know, hey man, I get it. Sorry friends, it's really windy today. But you know, you should take that other one down too, because that one's probably sick and it'll kill the rest of your trees. And it's like, yeah, you're right. There's no saving this thing. It's only green in the center, and the top is completely dead now. So we got a lot of sick trees here. This monster spruce here, or at least monster for us, this one's dying from the ground up. It's probably got root rot. It's very wet back in there, and might have to try and fall this one, but the thing is I don't want to take this tree down. So I mean, I guess I could just slam it into the back 40 there, but we'll see. And then also this one here is also dead. So this one died and probably took this one out if it is bugs. But anyhow, let's talk about long bars and I'll show you guys the technique. Got my bone stock West Coast wrapped 572 with the ram horn pipe. You guys ask about this pipe all the time. They're not available yet. This is just a prototype. And the boys at Super Cool Saws made this. I couldn't make this. This thing's, look at that. And it's perfect. Like, it just fits. But, so yeah, if you guys keep asking, stay tuned. And when they're available, I'm sure I'll let you know. Because the folks that make these will, or, you know, when these do become available, I'll keep you guys in the loop. Okay, let's talk about long bars and small wood. 28-inch full house. This would typically be too much saw for this wood. Now, I don't believe in that, because too much saw means I can get this done faster, right? If your change speed's there and your chain's sharp. Anyways, we're going to start breaking these down, and let's talk about, or I'll just show you guys. Maybe I'll do a little voiceover as I'm showing you the technique. There is a technique to running a long bar. It's a little bit different than a short bar, and I'll show you guys that. Okay, this video, I'm going to do just a voiceover and show you guys kind of the technique. Notice the saw is touching my right hip. Okay, it's kind of hanging down, and I just let the saw hang down on its own weight. So then I'm just holding the saw steady and kind of spinning it around and flipping it around and letting it cut and limb where it needs to go. So I'm not actually holding the weight right now. A little bit when I flip it over like that, but as you guys can see, I'm not really holding the saw out. It's touching my body most of the time. So this is something I had to learn. Being a short bar guy, coming up on short bars, this is not something that was natural to me. Now notice my left arm is down, my right arm is straight, and it's touching my hip. And if I want the nose of the bar to go up, I just push down with my left arm and just manipulate the saw. So basically my left arm is a pivot point or a fulcrum, and my right arm moves the bar tip up and down. And it's touching my right hip at all times. So this really takes the weight of the saw and just puts it in your hands, and you're not holding it out. What I've had to learn is, being a big fella, I tend to muscle things. Holding the saw out in front of me was killing me by the end of the day. And same thing, if you're gonna buck, put the saw down on the wood and just pull the trigger and let it pull itself through. Even here, as I'm cutting and limbing the other side, I have the weight of the saw is touching the wood, and I'm just holding the saw in and just running it along the log close to my body. Now let's do some bucking. Notice, left arm down, right arm controlling whether the tip goes up and down. Okay, holding the saw in tight as I'm bucking. The right side of the saw is actually touching my right hip. Now, yes, I'm holding it up here a little bit, but I'm keeping it close to my body to keep that weight in instead of holding it way out. The farther out you hold it, the heavier the object becomes. And see, nice sharp chain, perfect rakers. This is softwood, but it's dry. This stuff is not, it's not the easiest cutting, and it takes a lot of oil. But you can see, set it down on the log, no pressure on your hand, and just let it eat. And again, there's no weight. I'm not holding the saw up. You know, I'm just holding the weight straight down in my left hand, basically. Okay? And if I need to do a little bit of limbing on the one side, I just hold the saw up and let it cut. But most of the time now, I'm not holding the saw out, and I'm not holding the weight. Now right here's where you see, being 6'2", 6'3", I'm probably closer to 6'4", 6'5", with boots on, I could use a 32. Because I am slightly hunched over when I'm bucking. So I could actually use a bigger, longer bar, as scary and crazy as that sounds to some people, on this small wood. Because I do have to hunch down a little bit. Now, one thing I like about the 28 for me is it naturally, if it hangs down, it's not going to hit the ground. But a 32 is a better length bar for me, believe it or not. Now let's do some old school cutting. Bar parallel with the ground so you don't hit the dirt. Kneel down. Yeah, it cuts good like that, no problem. It'll rip all day. But here's two problems with this. One, your knees are going to get absolutely bashed. And number two, the tip of your bar is on the back end. You could grab a piece of wood and pull it into you, or fling it up into your head. We've all done it. So if you only have the tip in the bar, like you see here, or the tip of the bar in the wood, there's nothing that can come flying up. And once you learn your tip, there's no way you're cutting through, because you can feel it. And then just buck, and, you know, do one buck through, and then roll the log over and finish your cuts, and that's it. Your chain will stay sharp, and your back will really thank you, and your knees at the end of the day, okay? And notice, the saw is touching the right side of my body right here. It was hard for me to wrap my head around that It's like, I'm going to cut my leg, I'm going to do this and that. This is not natural for me, friends. I did not grow up running long bars. I ran 20s and 24s. That's it. There's no such thing as a 28 or a 32 unless you're cutting a big stump with a big saw. But even then, I came from the mentality, well, I can just cut from both sides of the tree. A 24-inch bar will cut a 4-foot tree. True, 100%. But I can't stand up with a 24-inch bar, and I can't, you know, I can't limb from far away, etc., etc. Even right here, I'm standing 3 feet back from the tree, just, you know, cleaning it up. I like that. It keeps the debris out of your face and keeps you safe. Here's that tree in high speed. Notice the saw's touching me the whole time. It never really hangs any further than it has to. It's hanging at the bottom of my arms. I stay close to the tree, and honestly, at the end of the day, my arms feel pretty good and I don't have any discomfort. Say hi, Charlie. Say hi. Hi, everybody. I love it. We're putting that in there. Now, as you guys can see there, you can make quick work with a big saw and a really sharp chain. This wood's dirty and hard on chains, but this chain's still, it's hanging in there. It's one thing I've learned over the years is, it's one thing to have a sharp chain, but then the next stage is get a sharp chain that lasts. Once you can do that, you can sharpen. And this has been a really fast chain for me. I got her going just the way I like. Another thing I like about the long bar is kickbacks. I find, especially having it at the end of the extension, okay, with a short bar, you tend to do this a lot and reach out. Well, if you get a kickback and you're like bent, guess what? You might catch her in the face. This way, I find it goes up and over your head. Let's demonstrate a kickback. I think we might be out of fuel here. Okay, don't try that at home, but that goes to show you, I find the leverage, there's less leverage with a long bar doing kickbacks. It still can happen, but I find is that it you know, it doesn't kick back as violently, and you can recover from it. Again, it's always good to have two hands on a saw, etc., etc. Just see what we got left here for fuel. This saw definitely needs some fuel, and it may need some of that good DGP bar oil. Yeah, we're out of fuel. I'll get some more fuel and let's finish bucking this thing up. This is the way to go. I can't do this. I just can't. remember, let the saw hang, and it's usually, it's like this. You got this nice range of motion. It's touching my hip, which might be unnerving to some people to have the saw that close to you, but it's, especially, these are cutting pants, faller's pants, whatever you want to call them. I'm fully protected from any issues. Well, I'm back, and yes, I went and grabbed my hard hat because I always wear one now, and that's the first time I've dropped a tree in a long time without a hat on, and I felt kind of silly doing it. So anyhow, there you guys go. A 572 with a 28-inch bar. A 32 would actually be better for me, but I got the 28 strapped on there. And just showing you guys the long bar technique. Now, I have horrendous tennis elbow, which saws really make flame up if I don't hold them right and use the right technique. I still have a tear in this rotator cuff, and I also have carpal tunnel in both hands. So just letting you guys know what's going on with my body. We all have our things, and 20 years of being a sheet metal worker and doing overhead work and squishing snips did some damage, and I would do it all over again if I had to, but I would. That's just what makes me me. But there's things we can do to help our body get through the day's work, and for me, it's a long bar. So try those techniques, wear your cutting pants, and just let the saw hang off your hands. And you got to be sharp. That is the one thing I'll say. You have to be sharp with a long bar. I couldn't run long bars back in the day because I wasn't sharp enough, just plain and simple. But now that I am sharp, I can't run a short bar. I just can't do it anymore. So anyhow, friends, thanks for watching. Take her easy, and hope to see you in a couple days. Later.